So Nike reached out and offered to send a pair of these over, and so I graciously accepted because this is a new model that I haven't tried yet. This is the Nike V5 RNR or Runner, and it's a pretty interesting looking model. So there's a couple of things I like about this model, and primarily the main thing is that the price point is only $90. If you are a fan of the mesh runners out there like the Vomero 5s, kind of a retro runner, this is kind of a newer model that is a little bit more affordable. So again, $90 instead of like $150 at retail. And I think that the V5 Runner is a pretty nice looking pair. There's a couple different colorways available over on Nike's website on these. If you guys are interested, I'll link them in the description. If you go over there, you can use my link. If you do use that link in the description, it will take you over to Nike and you can buy your own pair. If you guys do that, it lets Nike see that you guys interacted with the channel. Greatly appreciate when you guys do that. But anyways, shout out to Nike for sending this pair over. I actually really like some of the details. There's a couple things I don't like about the shoe, so we're going to go over the pros and cons of everything. But let's go ahead and give you guys just a general overview at first, because honestly, for a $90 runner, you get quite a bit of activity going on in this upper. So there is a lot of different layers. On the toe box section, in like three little sections, you do have a smaller and a larger gauge mesh. And then on the side panels, you have a larger gauge mesh with a smaller gauge mesh over top of it. So I like that they actually changed up the mesh a little bit here on the shoe in a couple different segments. It's also a little bit of a color on the underlay on the side panels. Then on the back section and then the heel, you do have the same mesh that you'd have on the toe box. Now that's the base layer, but over top of that, you do have a couple extra layers as well. There is a light gray layer that kind of circles around and then goes up through the side panels and then around the heel. It's almost like kind of an accent piece. And then over top of that, you do have a silver textured layer that goes across the toe box section up through the lace part. And then that also extends back around through the heel. But then adding the fourth layer on top of that, you have more of a metallic silver sort of layer that comes across the very toe of the shoe, and then it has a little bit of a swooping effect on the sides right underneath the swoosh, and then also up through the top lace and then down around through the heel. I think that is probably my favorite detail. I like that metallic color on this specific colorway, and I like that it has a big swooping layers that kind of come through the entire upper. Also on top of that, you do have some textured lines that come through that silver, so it adds just a nice little fun effect on top of it. So lots and lots of layers, lots of fun there going on the upper. Then you do have kind of a larger jewel swoosh on each side of the shoe, encased in kind of a bronze sort of color on this colorway. I like that Nike swoosh actually stands out quite a bit on both sides. Pretty nice looking effect there. Transition down to the midsole, and it kind of reminds you of like the P6000 model. I gotta be honest, I've never really been a fan of the P6000 model. A lot of people have used it as an alternative to the Vomero 5s, but personally for me, I just don't like the look of that P6000 or whatever it's called. I feel like this is like a sleeker pair and a little bit more affordable even at a $90 price point. But the midsole does kind of remind me of that a little bit, but a sleeker version. As you can see, it has some lines that come down and then lines that go across as well. The middle section is probably my favorite though, because you do have kind of this encased rubber that comes around through the bottom of the shoe and then up through the other side. And that's like a stability sort of plate on the shoe, but it adds a nice effect, adds an extra layer there and adds a little bit of extra rubberized material. You have a rubber outsole as well, so lots of traction on the bottom. And then the tongue padding is ultra thick, as well as the heel padding here. It's really, really thick. That's probably, if I was gonna throw out one of the things I don't like about this shoe, it's the way that the tongue lays down. It's just a little bit too puffy. It's almost like a Nike SB and not wide enough to cover the gaps. Like I don't like to look through here and see gaps. So that's kind of like a bummer thing to me. If they made it a thinner tongue and made it like overlap a little bit on each side so you don't see through this section right here, I think that the tongue would look a lot better. It's a small complaint, but it's definitely something I noticed when I put them on. Other than that, I would say that the shoes do fit true to size. So I'm a 9.5, got a 9.5, and that is the right fit for myself. I also like how the heel section here kind of extends down and outward a little bit. It gives it kind of like a chunky vibe for the midsole, but also with the extra width and stuff. It's a pretty wide base, enough that I would say that the stability is pretty decent on these as well. I think that overall comfort is really nice. Also, I don't know what the midsole is made of. I'll look it up in just a second, see if it says anything on Nike's website. I'd have to imagine it's probably like a Cushlon or something like that, or just, you know, something standard, but it does feel decent on feet. It's not anything super soft as like the Vomero 18. I would even say the Vomero 5s with the older technology is a little bit softer on feet than these, but the Vomero 5s I wouldn't say are soft on feet nonetheless. A lot of people find those extremely comfortable, but try the Vomero 18s and then see what extremely comfortable is. I think that those are a much better comfort pair for $150 if you're looking for it. I've done a review on the Vomero 18s recently as well. Top 10 comfort sneaker of the year for myself, as well as for summertime. I think those ones are amazing. But I think that this is a really nice pair for 90 bucks. I think that overall style on the upper looks great. I like that you have lots of different elements on the upper. I think it's really nice to see 4 different layers, 2 different styles of mesh. And then overall, the midsole and then the stability and stuff is pretty solid on here as well. You do have a pretty big puffy section on the heel with the Nike Swoosh here. Lots of real estate here just for one little Nike Swoosh. I feel like that probably could be a little bit thinner as well, but maybe it was trying to go for a little bit more of a chunky feel and match that same sort of energy that the midsole was having on it. Let's go ahead and get into some words what Nike says about these. Again, they're $90 and it's the V5 Runner. Tackle every day in a shoe that matches comfort with style. Staying true to its Y2K roots, the V5 Runner is a foam midsole that's chunky yet lightweight. Plus, metallic details and a 3D swoosh logo elevate this retro runner. Again, they retail at $90. They do have a denim colorway that is $95 though. Pretty nice, but they have a lot of different colorways in men and they have a lot of different colorways in women for this runner. Is this one that you guys missed out on? Is it a pair that you haven't even seen yet? I know that there's so many pairs that release. It's really hard to keep track of all of the different models and whatnot. So the V5 Runner was one that I saw that's been out for a little while, and I was like, that would be a fun one to try, but I never ended up buying them. So shout out to Nike for sending this pair over. After trying them out, I will say again, it's a really nice alternative to the Vomero 5. If you really like that Nike lineup, I feel like the Vomero 5s are just like already a classic in general. For more comfort, go with the Vomero 18s, obviously the more modernized pair. But if you like that Vomero 5 and you don't like the P6000s or whatever, like myself, I'm not a big fan of the way that those look. I think that this is definitely a better looking shoe. And considering the price point is 90 bucks, I feel like that is a W in my opinion as well. I feel like this is a model that you could probably find on sale here and there also. And if I do see any on sale, I'll always post them over on Twitter and like on my website, Collective Kicks, where I have a collection of all the sneaker deals that I find at any specific time. But leave a comment, let me know what you guys think about the V5 Runner. Is it a go or not? Have you tried them? Is it just a pair that you picked up and were just like overall impressed by? Leave some pros and cons in your opinion of what you think about this model. Overall, though, I think it is a pretty solid buy for the price point, and you get a lot of fun and look to the shoe. I don't like the tongue puffiness and the puffiness on the heel. I feel like that's kind of like a disservice. It's just a little bit too puffy, a little bit too chunky for whatever it's worth. But I do like the midsole and the chunkiness there. And we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for stopping in and watching. Hope you guys enjoy the quick look at the V5 Runners. And hopefully you guys have a good rest of the day out there. Subscribe for more content and hopefully see you back. All right. Peace, guys.